Welcome to Prajna Sparks, a podcast where we listen to a Dharma talk, contemplate with our minds and in our hearts, and engage in guided meditation. Every episode of Prajna Sparks takes hours to plan, record, and edit. We ask that, if you haven't already, you give us some time today to like, subscribe, share, and review our podcast. Alongside your own practice, this is the best possible offering as it helps the Dharma reach new listeners.
In this third of 3 episodes on the triad of view, meditation, and conduct, we not only look at conduct, but also how the triad interacts within the space of these 3 elements, as well as how the triad as a whole is located in the space of the Buddhist path and practice in general. First, looking at conduct, this is an area where the English is actually quite similar to the Tibetan Tripa. It can be translated as action, conduct, behavior, and so forth. And like the English word conduct, it applies in a very broad way how we conduct ourselves in life in the sense of our way of comporting ourselves, our way of being, our behavior, as well as our actual conduct in the form of actions that we undertake throughout our life. In the context of view, meditation, and conduct, conduct does, in a way, have a linear relationship with view and meditation, whereby view is the general belief system that we hold, be it influenced by the Buddha Dharma or not. Meditation refers to the habituation that holding that view naturally brings about. Whatever view we have, be it a view that is in alignment with the teachings of the Buddha, or one that has developed throughout our various interactions with our culture, views of philosophy, science, our own personal way of making our way through life, that view is a often silent yet significant impact on our life. The view informs our conduct, which in turn is one of the main ways that we familiarize ourselves, continually habituate ourselves, or in the context of this triad, meditate on that view. So, for example, if we firmly believe that eating the flesh of animals is harmful to ourselves, animals, and the planet, and we engage in a course of conduct where we have very strict vegan principles that we enact in our lives, that very conduct, preserving vegan principles, serves to familiarize ourselves, habituate ourselves to that view. We increasingly strengthen and reinforce that view, which is the meditation component, by means of our conduct, as well as by means of reflecting on why we hold these principles to be important, and so forth. And this is true in any walk of life. If we believe that waging war on a neighboring country is the way to gain strength, resources, power, and sovereignty in the world, and we have the position politically to enact that, then the more we enact that, the more that view is reinforced, and the more we reinforce that view, the more we enact it. So we can see there how that reinforcing the meditation component, the part of habituating ourselves or cultivating an intimate connection between view and conduct, serves as the pivot that moves view from an abstract or nameless, silent figure in our lives to something that is embodied in our behavior. When we look at it in the conduct of Buddhist practice, then conduct is a natural outcome of the change in view that Dharma brings about the more we meditate on its principles. In other words, the more we cultivate familiarity with its principles, for example, of karmic cause and effect, or impermanence, our own mortality, the true nature of things as empty, etc. Just talking about that, we start to get a sense of, well, yeah, there's a linear correlation, but that's not all that's happening. It's not just that we hold a view that we reinforce through meditation, and then that natural outcome is that it expresses through our conduct, but that the conduct then in turn circles back to serve as another form of meditation. You could say an active meditation or cultivation of familiarity that further reinforces our view. For example, if we choose to take what are called precepts in some Buddhist traditions, or in the Tibetan tradition is usually called following the virtues and avoiding non-virtues, such as respecting life rather than killing, valuing others' property rather than taking what is not given, respecting the intimacy of sexual relationship through intentional sexuality rather than sexual misconduct and so forth. That view that we cultivate through meditation definitely changes our action. We engage in activities such as, for example, perhaps moving spiders or other insects we find in our home out so they can continue their life in a space that doesn't include us, if that's something we don't want, rather than just killing them, or perhaps just letting them be, if that's something that is suitable for us and our household. And the more we do that, the more that reinforces that view. We start to see how it is that engaging in these virtues is not just something we do to follow orders. It's not just something that's out there as arbitrary rules that are very black and white and don't have a great deal of nuance. Rather, the more we engage with them, the more we find how much depth, sophistication, and subtlety there is. So it's not just about not killing animals, or perhaps choosing a vegan or vegetarian lifestyle. It's also recognizing that even the strictest vegan is not immune from being a part of the cycle of animals dying. Simply harvesting rice includes the killing of many beings in the fields where those rice grains are harvested. So we start to see what incredible subtlety there is, how incredibly interconnected we are, and how complex this cycle of samsara is. Our conduct, in other words, opens the door to greater sophistication as to view and new, intricate ways to cultivate familiarity with that view based on what our actions teach us about that view in the world. Conduct also refers to the way of being, how we navigate life, how we channel the Buddha's teachings we cultivate through meditation and view, so that we are embodying it. And this brings us to one of the many connections of view, meditation, and conduct beyond the sphere of these three. Not only are they related to one another, and this very dynamic interplay, but these three can also be related to other systems of understanding within the Buddha's teachings. For example, it has always been helpful to me to consider how view, meditation, and conduct parallel the triad of body, speech, and mind. It helps me to see the connections between conduct or action and body. This is the most obvious way that we enact conduct through our physical actions. In that sense, meditation or cultivating familiarity is an expression, a form of speech in the sense of the inner dialogue that we carry out on the cushion and off with the teachings of the Dharma that present the view. It is our own dialogue with the Buddha that deepens our understanding of the view and that turns it from something flat and dead on a page that we follow stoically to something alive and present in our stream of being that has an active relational component with our actions of body. This is a form of speech. It is a quiet speech, it's an inner speech, but it is expression in the sense of an ongoing exchange that we have in our hearts with the teachings of the Buddha that form the bedrock of view. Often, Buddhist view challenges some of the principles that our culture may hold dear. If we live in a culture that prizes consumerism or an ethic of financial success, status, or reputation, which you could say about most cultures in human history, then we will find that there are many avenues of dialogue open with the Buddha's teachings on, for example, reorienting the mind, living simply, engaging the things of this life, not as ends in themselves, something that will by themselves make us happy, nor as something to reject out of hand, but as implements, tools, almost partners in our spiritual practice. In that sense, view is very much a part of mind. So we can see how view, meditation, and conduct respectively have a parallel to mind, speech, and body. Very important triad in Buddhist practice, which we endeavor to keep in alignment with one another. Just as view, meditation, and conduct, when they are in alignment, bring integrity. When body, speech, and mind are in alignment, we can feel the harmony that comes of that, the strength of the natural integrity, and others feel it too. We can also relate this triad of view, meditation, and conduct to a specific teaching in the Mahamudra tradition, ground, path, and fruition. Ground refers to our state of being here and now, the very ground, the foundation on which we build our spiritual practice. In particular, it refers to the fact that all beings, wherever there is mind, the ground of that mind, the foundation, the bedrock, is Buddha nature, the true nature of mind. Interestingly, the fruition is also Buddha nature. The difference being that in the state of fruition, Buddha nature is completely manifest, not clouded over, veiled, or obscured in any way, but entirely free to express in all of the ways that its inherent love, power, and wisdom provide. Whereas at the level of the ground, that Buddha nature, however potent, however full of love, power, and wisdom, it is nevertheless, you could say, shrouded or covered over. One of the many examples for this is like a priceless golden jewel-encrusted statue that is covered in rags in a landfill somewhere. Another simple example is a banana. The fruit of the banana is completely encased in the peel. And the experience of the fruit of the banana and ingesting that is not quite the same as it would be if you ingested the entire thing, peel and all. It's not that there is a judgment of goodness or badness. More, there is an acknowledgement of the natural state of things, the natural state of Buddha nature when it is able to shine forth unencumbered, as opposed to the state of Buddha nature at the ground, where we still have an experience of Buddha nature. Whenever we come in contact with loving kindness, compassion, wisdom, and power in ourselves and others, not just human others, but animals and other beings as well, we are seeing glimmers of that Buddha nature happening in the world. There are those beautiful pictures and videos that you see all the time of, for example, a mother deer nurturing a lion cub or whatever it may be. There are lots of different ways to explain that. When we see it through the light of Buddha nature shining through, even a relatively challenging state in an animal rebirth, then we can find examples for this everywhere. Well, then how does view, meditation, and conduct fit into this triad? If ground is Buddha nature inchoate, fully present, but not quite fully manifest, and fruition is Buddha nature fully present and fully manifest, path is simply the path that goes from ground to fruition, the way that we travel, short or long, depending on our individual circumstances, to take us from the state of Buddha nature unmanifest to Buddha nature fully manifest. This space of path entirely encloses view, meditation, and conduct. So you can understand view, meditation, and conduct in that sense as well, that our path entails view, meditation, and conduct. You can further understand how that is the case if we look at what constitutes path in the Buddha's teachings and how those relate to view, meditation, and conduct. For example, the 8-limbed path of noble beings that the Buddha teaches as the fourth of the 4 truths of noble beings: right view and right intention, which relate to view, right speech, right action, and right livelihood, which relate to conduct, and right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, which relate to meditation. So we can see how there is a dynamic interplay between these 2 different ways of presenting path. A similar kind of relationship exists between view, meditation, and conduct on the one hand, and what are called the 3 trainings: Shila, Samadhi, and Prajna in Sanskrit, or in English, ethical discipline, meditative stability, and precise knowledge. Here, precise knowledge relates to view. This is prajna, pranya in Sanskrit. Ethical discipline, or shila in Sanskrit, relates to conduct. And meditative stability, or samadhi in Sanskrit, relates to meditation. You can also relate view, meditation, and conduct to the 6 paramitas in the Mahayana path, with view again correlating to the 6th paramita, prajna, pranya, meditation correlating to the 5th paramita, meditative concentration, and conduct correlating to the first 3 paramitas, generosity, ethics, and patience. Then the 4th paramita, diligence, permeates all 3 view, meditation, and conduct. Well, this is lovely as a plan that gives us an overview of the interrelationships among the elements of the teachings, but what does it actually do for understanding what it looks like in our life? What's helpful about these interactions among the elements of the teachings is it gives more texture, more dimension to our understanding of what view, meditation, and conduct are about. Basically, you could say that view correlates with aligning our philosophy of life, our belief system, our operating system for being in the world, as much as we're able with the Buddha's teachings. Now, this isn't valuable if you're not interested in following the Buddha's teachings. It may even seem like a kind of brainwashing to someone who isn't finding a great sense of purpose or importance in the Buddhist view. If we see the value of the Buddha's teachings, then we naturally have a wish to align ourselves with that view. How do we do that? Well, part of it is in our conduct, what we study, what we read, the teachings we hear, places we go to, the practices we undertake. And as we just looked at, these relate as well to meditation. This helps us to see how our conduct includes not only what we do in everyday life, but choices we make for carving out time for formal meditation as well as active meditation in the world, which allows us to reinforce that view so that it becomes a seamless way of guiding our life. We can see that activities such as charity or engaging in a morality that has strong ethical sensibility and practices such as patience, forbearance, forgiveness, and so forth are definitely ways that we conduct ourselves in line with a view cultivated in meditation, but that all of the ways that we interact, be it learning the view, cultivating familiarity with that in meditation, or enacting the natural outcomes of those in our conduct of body, speech, and mind, requires a sense of diligence, which in Buddhism doesn't have the heavy associations that the word diligence has in English. It literally means enthusiasm for virtue. So perhaps view, meditation, and conduct can be best encapsulated in that way. Having an enthusiasm for learning how the Buddha can teach us how to guide ourselves on and off the cushion in ways that align with a view that takes in the full and complete nature of things just as they are. When we have great enthusiasm for instilling that view in our stream of being, then our conduct naturally starts to align with that. That enthusiasm infects our actions and fuels our meditation on and off the cushion to continually reinforce further and further all the way up to perfect and complete Buddhahood without anything but perfect and complete non-conceptual experience of the benefit of oneself and the spontaneous fulfillment of the benefit of others. This is Buddhahood, the fruition of the path of view, meditation, and conduct, which brings the Buddha nature of the ground into full and perfect completion. For our contemplation on view, meditation, and conduct, a song by the great yogi of Tibet, Milarepa, as translated by Jim Scott and Ari Goldfield, I'll here read the main verses that relate to view, meditation, and conduct. You can access the full text and the melody for the song being sung by a group of students at the link in the show notes. For the mind that masters view, the emptiness dawns. In the content scene, not even an atom exists. A seer and seen, refined until they're gone. This way of realizing view, it works quite well. When meditation is clear light river flow, there is no need to confine it to sessions and breaks. Meditator and object refined until they're gone. This heartbone of meditation, it beats quite well. When you're sure that conduct's work is luminous light, and you're sure that interdependence is emptiness, a doer and deed refined until they're gone, this way of working with conduct, it works quite well.
This is Zopa and Yeshe for Prajna Sparks. Be sure to join us every month on the new moon for fresh episodes. Stay tuned now for a guided meditation. Shivni is our Tibetan singing bowl artist. Thanks for the generosity of giving us some time out of your day to like, subscribe, share, and review Prajna Sparks. It really does help us to spread the gift of Dharma to new listeners. If you have any questions, contact us via email, Instagram, or Facebook. Check the episode notes for those links and for more resources on today's topic. Visit us on the web at prajnafire.com or follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Prajna Sparks. Thank you for listening. May all beings benefit. Hello, friends. Welcome to the meditation on conduct. Begin by taking your seat, coming into the present moment, allowing yourself to arrive here and now, letting go of any thoughts of the future, reflections on the past, and just simply arriving, being present. Before we get to our meditative inquiry for today, let's begin with shamatha, tranquility meditation, cultivating one-pointed attention of mind, balancing the lucidity and stillness aspects of mind such that we're calm, alert, attentive, vibrant and bright, settled and grounded. We do this by focusing on a meditation object of our choosing, such as the breath, and letting that be the anchor of our attention, letting us know when we stray from it into distraction, dullness, sleepiness, thoughts, whatever it might be. We use it to fine-tune that awareness and attention, resting lightly, gently on the meditation object. Let's practice like that for several minutes. In this calm, clear, settled, and alert state of mind, let us enter into the meditative inquiry on conduct. Over these 3 episodes, we have been looking at view, meditation, and conduct as encapsulating the Buddhist path, encapsulating the way to engage with the world, giving us a framework for understanding our path forward as we do our Buddhist practice and try to integrate it more and more into our daily life. When we look at conduct, or in other words, our actions, our behaviors, we can investigate how much do I hold myself separate from my actions? Do I tend to think of my actions as something I do distinct from who I am? Take a moment and reflect. Look into your own experience. If we are finding that we tend to think of our actions as simply almost a possession or a activity that we do and let go of that doesn't really affect us, affect who we are, then we may be missing an essential point regarding karmic cause and result. Conduct significantly influences our views. It influences our beliefs. It influences even our subjective experience of the world moment by moment. In other words, our conduct, our actions, and the choices we make of what to engage with verbally, physically, and mentally change who we are moment by moment. They influence our experience and the direction that we are going. If we turn to consider view, meditation, and conduct, we can ask ourselves, how do these 3 support each other, uphold each other? If we are very diligent in our meditation, and yet when we rise up off of our cushion or our seat and go out into the world and completely forget about it, letting our conduct of body, speech, and mind simply chase after whatever demands of our ego, of our kleshas, those emotions of anger, attachment, desire, jealousy demand of us without giving it a second thought, then we probably know that our meditation may be going in one direction and our conduct is going in a different direction, leaving us like someone whose legs are going in 2 different directions, stuck, mired, perhaps uncomfortable in the splits. Take a minute now to examine your relationship with your conduct, if you see the importance of it. in your spiritual path and development. Our conduct, our actions matter greatly. Moment by moment, they shape our world. They shape our experience. And they can either enhance, uplift our view, our intention, and our meditation practice, moving us closer and closer, providing us with the fuel for accomplishing our aim of liberation and omniscience through directly realizing non-self and emptiness on the basis of vast actions and also small daily actions of virtue, of goodness. We can ask ourselves, what is the influence that I see in my mind of even a small act of kindness? Not just in the moment, but in the ripple effect that carries forward. What about a small act done in meanness or stinginess? How does that reverberate through our day? Once we start to see for ourselves that our actions and who we are, our experience, are not as separate as we perhaps stridently hold them to be, we open up a whole vista of opportunity for empowering ourselves, enhancing our practice, uplifting our sense of what is possible in our life and our world. As Padmasambhava Guru Rinpoche says, my view is higher than the sky, yet my attention to my actions and their effects is finer than flower. If we really start paying attention to our conduct, our actions, the effects that they have on us, not skipping over or ignoring those effects that our actions produce immediately, moment by moment, and in longer term fashion, then the path opens wide before us. It starts to become quite easy to enhance our view, deepen our meditation practice, and find the fire, the motivation for acts, large and small, that will continue to spur us along in the direction of definitive goodness for ourselves and all beings. Take a couple minutes now to inquire into your own relationship with conduct, with your actions in this way. Thank you for your wholehearted practice, for your willingness to look, investigate, and especially for any beneficent intention that you hold for this precious world and all the beings that are in it. Please join me now in gathering together whatever goodness has come of this listening, contemplating, and meditating, and dedicate it to ourselves and all beings, achieving the liberation and omniscience of Buddhahood.